There's nothing more antiquated and out of date than using all your fingers to play guitar chords, except for maybe chivalry and single income home ownership. But today we're leaning into the new trends, and we're going to talk about how to really play some incredibly beautiful stuff using one guitar shape through one key, just making all the prettiest, most beautiful things in the key of E, which is really one of the prettiest keys in history, with only using 3 fingers and kind of just one shape in a variation. Alright, so to do this, we're going to root all of this on the low E string. In fact, for the reason that we can only use 3 fingers for this is because we're going to leave the high E and the B string open. Okay, so B is a very important note in the key of E. In fact, all the notes in the key of E are important, but B has a synergy with it, right? So if we let's go really quickly through just the notes in the key of E. Start on an open E, and then do the major scale formula, which is whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half, like that, right? Those give us all the notes in that key. Again, we have E, an F sharp, a G sharp, A, B, C sharp, D sharp, E, okay? Now you can think of them as the actual names of the notes, or you can just think of them as frets, or intervals, or spaces. Open, 2, 4, 5, 7, 9, 11, 12. Kind of easy because after you get that first open, 2, 4, then you just have the inlays, 5, 7, 9, 11, 12. So be able to do that back and forth first. Open, 2, 4, 5, 7, 9, 11, 12, 12, 11, 9, 7. Counting backwards is really difficult. But now we're going to just learn one shape, and then we're going to learn variations that help with all of them. Alright? So we're actually not going to start with E major, even though this is in the key of E major. We're going to start with the 2 chord in the key. The F sharp is going to be an F sharp minor. 7 is going to be the shape that we're thinking of, but again, we're adding an open B and an open E to every single one of these chords. Alright? Now you'll notice my pointer finger is just hanging out, just doing absolutely nothing, because it's lost all its motivation knowing that it could never afford to buy a home in Los Angeles no matter how much money you realistically make. So it's just going to kind of freeload here and just do its own thing, working on its screenplay. Meanwhile, the middle finger, ring finger, and pinky, I'm not even going to go for a metaphor for those, are doing all the work. Alright? So, rooting here, 2nd fret, F sharp, and then getting that cool, nice top end on top of it. Now, anytime we have a minor chord in this key, we can use this shape, alright? So, the minor chords in this key would be the 2 chord, and the 3 chord, and the 6 chord. I've done other videos like this just about these 3 chords, but they sound great together, right? So I'm just thinking of putting together the 2nd fret, the 4th fret, and the 9th fret. Also known as the 2 chord, 3 chord, and relative minor 6 chord in the key. But this shape is really, really cool because when we just think of this as, you know, a minor 7 shape, we can also add the 7 chord to it. And listen to that, that's kind of a very interesting sound, having it there, because again, that 7 chord is technically where like the half diminished chord is, but when we use this minor 7 chord shape, we're actually not playing the 5th of the chord. And that's what's cool about this little kind of trick where we're leaving out the 5 chord instead of going a straight triad. Okay, it makes it actually easier, and I think it actually sounds better and prettier too. Another reason it sounds so pretty is because I just finally put Elixir Strings on this Martin D18. This video is sponsored by Elixir Strings. The only strings I will ever use, just because they're that good. They last so much longer, they sound incredible. I really think that they shine with particularly just songs or just playing styles like this, because they're so balanced. Again, these are the 12 nanowebs 8020 bronze. I'll link these in the description with an affiliate link. But I just think they add a perfect brightness to like a big dreadnought guitar like this, and they just balance it out. So thank you to Elixir Strings for sponsoring this video. But let's just go over these 4 kind of minor chords, minor in quotations, because again, they do have technically different names, but I think it's easier just to think of them as the same class, because we can just put that one shape on it. And they're always just a step away from each other, right? From 2 to 4, and 9 to 11. And that's already 4/7 of the way through the entire key. Okay? Now again, sometimes I'll resolve on that E major, and I know that you'll be like, oh, we used your pointer finger for that E major. We're getting to it, alright? Now, if you've ever watched my videos before, you know that I'm just a huge sucker for major 7 chords, and you're probably like, how come you haven't played the major 7 chords yet? Well, that's what we're doing next, alright? So the first one we're going to encounter is that 5th fret, A, and we're going to take its same shape. Again, there's the shape that we started with, just 5, skip the A string, 5 and 5. And now I'm just going to take my ring finger and my pinky, which are coupled together, and then now I'm going to offset it. So now it's 5, skip the A string, 6 and 6. And I'm still getting the open B and E on top, okay? So I'm thinking of this as an A major 7 chord, even though, again, you know, I'm adding an open B, which would be like the 9th, right? So you could A major 9, whatever. Get out of here, music theory truthers. I'm doing my best. It just sounds good. And then we do this also on the E, which is the octave. 12th fret, right? And again, you could also bring it back here too. There's a little too much dissonance there. This is why I don't use that chord personally. I like it better up here. But again, you can see, so again, here's that 11th fret to the 12th fret, and it's just a quick little shift, right? From minor to major 7. Alright, and then the only other one is happening on the 5 chord in this key. So we can go through this chord scale. 2nd fret, minor. 4th fret, minor. 5th fret, think of this as major. Here's the next one. Okay, this is going to be kind of in between. And this is a great way to think about dominant 7 chords, because it's kind of like half major, half minor is one way to look at it. Because if you see, I've got my middle finger on the 7th fret of the E string, and then this is the only time in this entire lesson that our ring finger and pinky won't be together. They're offset. So my ring finger is on the 7th fret of the D string, and my pinky is on the 8th fret of the G string. And I can still get, again, those open strings on top. Dominant 7, major 7, or 9. And again, if it's more comfortable for you to use your pointer finger here, that's fine. I just want to make the mental connection that you can just use these 3 fingers and then alter the shape all the way down. Okay? So now let's start again, doing all those same chords, but using just really one shape in 2 variations. Alright, so here's that 2 chord F, because here's open E, right? E, the 2 chord F with the minor shape, the 3 chord G sharp with that minor shape, the 4 chord A with the major 7 shape, the 5 chord B with that kind of in-between shape, the 6 chord C sharp minor shape, D sharp, the minor shape again, and then back to E, home, with the major. Okay? Now there's a ton of cool different stuff you can use just by going back and forth and sliding between them. It's always great to think of the numbers, right? One thing that I love to do is just like really be heavy on the 4 chord and then go to the 1 as a major 7 chord. So just the 2 major 7 chords, right? So there's the 4 chord, 1 chord, maybe you want to connect them. Again, it always sounds really, really cool, right? And the distinction here is like, all right, well, what makes one major or one minor, and it's really going to be that 7th note. What I mean by like a 7th note is going to be whatever string or fret or finger you're using on the D string in this example. Okay, so like I said, if we start with the F sharp minor, why I've been calling this a minor 7 chord, even though we have extra notes, is the distance and interval between my middle finger root note and then where my ring finger is on the D string. They're in line, okay? That's called a minor 7, just that interval. One way we could see that is if we just take the minor scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, minor 7. Okay? Again, with A's spot, it's not in line like a minor chord would be. As a major 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. A major 7. And then, again, even though there are only 2 different ways, it could be a flat 7 or a regular 7, B is the one that has the different shape, just because it's a major chord with a minor 7. Major, minor, but again, a minor 7 with a major 3rd would be a dominant 7, blah, 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 blah. I've talked too much about music theory. We just want to play cool stuff, all right? Now let's talk about one really cool variation. One cool variation you could do with this to go outside the key, but still kind of keep the same vibe. And what I like to do in that, and what you hear in a lot of different songs, is taking that 3 chord and then turning it into the half major, half minor one. So again, E major, 2 chord, 3 chord. This would be a cool way to maybe experiment and do that dominant 7, that half major, half minor chord. So now it's 4E, 4D, 5G. And especially when you're leading it to the 9th fret or the relative minor. This chord in this key is made to get you to that 6 chord. And then we can go to the 5 chord to home. So even though every key is only supposed to have one dominant 7 chord, you could think of this as a second dominant 7 chord that you could use, otherwise known as a secondary dominant, because it points you right here. Okay, that's the whole point of a dominant 7 chord, is it takes you to what it's the 5 of. And if you look at C sharp, again, I said we were done with music theory, but we're not. I'm tricking everybody. This is the 5 of C sharp, right? Resolution. So that's just kind of one cool thing that you can do to add it. But if you want to stay in the key, diatonic would be the name of that. That's minor. 2 chord, 3 chord, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. 1, 7, 6, 5. I'm getting better counting backwards. 4, 3, 2, 1. So yeah, that's just a cool thing you can do in the key of E. Use a capo and do in other keys and stuff like that, but really just kind of having one shape that you can move around and keep your fingers, kind of close, I think is just really efficient. And I think if you just experiment with it, you can kind of see yourself coming up with cool different chord progressions. So thanks for checking it out. Thank you to Elixir Strings. Here comes that motorcycle again. You guys ever see that South Park episode with the motorcycle bros? Love it. Fantastic. Let me know in the comments if you've seen that, if you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, thanks to Elixir Strings for sponsoring the video. Get yourself a pack, and I will talk to you guys soon. Thanks a lot.